Hey guys, today we're going to be drawing a fun little house. It may be a little bit early for snow, but you can use this clip art image to create holiday cards, gift tags, and stuff like that. Let's get started! For today's tutorial, I'm going to be using the Sublime Watercolor pack and the vintage canvas. Everything will be linked below. As usual, I've drawn a rough little sketch for you guys, so you guys can download it and insert it like this. Go to Add, and insert a photo. Once you have the sketch in there, we can go ahead and make a new layer on top so that we can start to color. I'm going to start off with this light yellow beigey color and use the hard edge round brush. And I'm going to start coloring the entire house. I'll make sure to include the color palette as well in the free download so that you can follow along. I really like this brush because it has this hard edge effect, just like how real watercolor looks like when it dries. You don't have to, of course, fill it all in using just one continuous stroke, but I'm just trying to see how long I can go. Once the house is all filled in like this, you can use the basic blender to blend out these overlaps. Of course, you can leave some in there just so that it looks more like authentic watercolor. Once everything is smoothed out, we're going to get a darker version of the color that we were just using and make some little accents here and there. If you've been following my channel, you probably know how I like to add shadows and color gradients. It's usually by adding random strokes in like this, especially on the right side because that's where I generally like to place the shadows. Please feel free to play around with this and color in random areas that may look a little bit darker. Adding different versions of the same color can really make it look more realistic and less flat. Generally, I stick to areas that are close to the pencil lines. Once you've added in all these strokes, you can use the basic blender to smooth it out. As you can see, I'm blending very gently to preserve this darker pigment. You don't really want to blend it so much so that the secondary color that we've just added is all blended out. I'm going to repeat the same process with a darker color. In this case, it's a very dark brown. It may look a little bit more grungy if you use darker colors. Once again, I'm blending it out very gently. So for this entire house, you can color using this layering method that we've been repeatedly doing. And I gotta say, it makes it look like real watercolor. To check how it's going, you can lower the opacity of the sketch layer like this, and you'll be able to pinpoint which areas need more blending. I think the brown accent that I've just added is a little bit too dark, so I'm going to bring the opacity down. Some areas look a little bit too grungy and dirty, so I'm going to blend that out. Now I'm going to bring the opacity back up for the sketch so that we can see the pencil lines, and I'm going to start coloring the roof, and I chose this red color. For consistency, I'm going to color the window pane area the same color. As usual, I'm adding a darker version of this red to indicate that this area is not flat and has some shadows. For blending very tiny areas like this, you can use this tiny blender that you can download for free from my Gumroad page. Now it's time to color the snow, so let's go back to our layers panel and bring the opacity up for our sketch layer. And let's make a new layer on top for the snow. And you can use one of these very light blues or very light grays and start coloring the snow. Because snow is, white and you can't really see white on white paper, you're going to have to just color it with a very light gray and different shades of gray. I'm going to use a darker gray for areas that are a little bit heavier in snow and blend it out so that it looks natural. Make sure to color the snow near the door as well. Now that's all done, let's make a new layer, and I'm going to pick out a very dark orange. And I'm going to fill the windows in using the hard edge round brush. I chose orange because I wanted to make the inside of this house look warm and cozy on this snowy day. As always, I'm adding darker pigments of orange and blending that in. Now let's make a new layer on top of the very first layer and make that a clipping mask. And now I'm going to pick out a stamp. Bloom number 3 looks good, and let's pick out a beigey color, slightly darker than the original color, and use it where you like. These blooms can elevate the painting and make it look like authentic watercolor. Now I've merged all the layers together and moved the house to the side, and now we are going to duplicate that layer and select that new layer and move it to the side like this. So the original layer looks slightly faint because it is being covered by the new copy, so we're going to duplicate the original layer again to revive the color and then merge these layers together. You can leave it here, but I'm going to change the color of the second copy, so I'm going to go to Hue, Saturation, and Brightness and toggle the hue around like this and stop when I'm happy. This blue looks nice, but I'm going to change the saturation as well. Now the colors are a bit more fitting and kind of looks vintage. The final thing that you can do to make it look more natural than an identical copy is to change some things around, like the snow here. I'm trying to make it look like there's a little bit of a difference. Although we did copy it, we kind of wanted to make it look like we didn't, so you can change like the inside of the window so that this blue house is getting that warm light from within too. Anyways, that's it guys. Hopefully this tutorial wasn't too repetitive. Please tag me on Instagram if you end up drawing something using my brushes. If you have enjoyed this tutorial, please subscribe and hit the notification bell and like this video. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.